Hello, today we are going to see if the laptop MSI Stealth 16 AI Studio A1V supports Linux. So this is the hardware. This is how it looks from the top of the lid. This is the back, only fan exhausts at the back, no USB connectors. At the right, there's a power, this guy, a USB-A, USB-C, jack headphones, lock, fan, network interface card, HDMI, micro SD, and another USB Type-C. The big problem immediately that you can see is that there's just one USB Type-A, which means if you have a mouse, then you cannot plug your USB headset. Or, I don't know, other USB Type-A storage or dongles, etc. This is how the keyboard looks like. It's a 16-inch monitor, so there's a bit of room for the 10 keys. The num lock switches between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to home and page down, page up. And I couldn't find any other place where these four very important buttons exist. Home and page up, page down. This effectively forces me to always run with numlock disabled. Fortunately, in the BIOS, you can disable numlock at computer start. These are the arrow keys. In Linux, the keyboard looks exactly like this. Function, control. This is less than, greater than. This is the second alt. The F keys are on by default, at least in my configuration. So F8, F9, F10, F11, F12. Which is great because I'm a programmer. I use the the function keys at a lot daily. This is how the power cable looks like. This is the power plug. A very powerful power brick and power connector because it has a very powerful CPU and also a dedicated, a second GPU from NVIDIA. This is how the BIOS looks like, MSI UEFI. You can use your mouse, you can double click, or you can use it in the classic way that you can use BIOSes, which is left, right arrow keys to go from the main element in the top tab bar to advanced. Up, down will go in this list in the body of the page. Enter will provide a pop-up menu where you can select the options. A good idea is to enable in the BIOS all of the nice features. So that means full virtualization software support, VTX, this one Intel Virtualization Technology, VTD, hyper-threading, of course, you want as many threads as possible. I'm not sure why you would swap the Alt and / keys. WinF and key swap. I'm not sure if this function works as expected in Linux. The key that says FN is actually the FN key, and the key that says Win is actually the Windows key, with this setting enabled where Win FN key swap is enabled. I've talked about numlock. The numlock should always be off by default when the computer starts, which is this setting, the second one. Boot up numlock state off. Fortunately, the BIOS is not locked, so this means that I could disable fast boot. And also I could disable secure boot. Okay, in order to enter the BIOS, the key to press, so you restart your computer and press multiple times the del delete key. Then you save the changes and reset on the last page. So this is the top bar with tabs, and the last tab is save and exit. You double click on save changes and reset or press enter. Next up, you need to prepare a USB storage with your Linux installer ISO. I went for Kubuntu 23.10 beta. I have downloaded the ISO file, then I have written it to the USB stick like this. I became super user. I have used the command line lsblk. Says that NVMe 2 terabytes is my storage, and the very small 28 gigabytes is the only alternative. So yes, /dev/sda is actually the USB stick, 28 gigabytes. Then I'm using the Linux executable DD. IF equals full path to the ISO file. OF equals full path to the USB stick, so /dev/sda, which we figured out previously. Block size 1 megabyte and status progress. It takes a while to actually copy all of the 5 gigabytes. That's the size of the ISO. Then you stick the USB drive in the only possible place for me, because my USB stick is USB 3.2 and it's USB type A. So the only possible port is near the power plug. I do not know how to restart and show the UEFI boot menu, so boot order menu. So I have re-entered BIOS, so I restarted, pressed delete a ton of times, back to the BIOS. In there, you need to go to the boot tab, boot option 1, double click on it. It's going to present a pop-up menu, which looks like this. Select what you want to boot from, which is my Kingston Data Traveler 3. So I've navigated to the third option and then pressed enter, or you can double click. Now on the boot option 1, it's the Kingston USB stick. Option 2 is the hard disk. I have saved, so went to the last tab, save and exit, save changes and reset, double click on it, and double click on yes or press enter. The computer will restart, boots in from the ISO that's on the USB stick. Either choose the first option or wait 30 seconds, which is try or install Kubuntu. we get to this page. And first of all, I wanted to see the hardware support in Kubuntu 23.10 beta for this laptop. So I didn't change anything in here and just press the button try Kubuntu. It booted successfully, started KDE Plasma with this huge resolution that I cannot really read fonts in. Welcome Center is running by default. To my surprise, Kubuntu 24.10 is the first version of Kubuntu that has KDE Plasma 6. So this is in fact KDE Plasma 6. Also, fortunately, the default backend is X11, not Wayland. Hopefully the default GPU that's being used during all of these is the Intel Arc GPU, the integrated GPU, not the NVIDIA GPU. This is how it looks like. So resolution is 2560 by 1600, which is aspect ratio 16 by 10. I cannot read this. Text at this resolution says 240 Hertz. So I changed the resolution to 1080p, which is possible. And then there's a 16 by 10 resolution that's similar to the 1080p resolution, but will not show at the top and at the bottom of the image rows of black pixels. So I should use 16 by 10, not 16 by 9 because of the monitor. And that's what I'm using. The keyboard works okay. The keyboard backlighting works okay. The keyboard multimedia keys work okay. The mouse, I can move the mouse, so from the touchpad, but I need to physically press the touchpad down in order for a left mouse click to be registered or a right mouse click. The webcam works. It actually provides two devices. This one is in infrared mode. So there's a infrared mode for the camera, FHD IR camera. FHD stands for full high definition, which is 1080p. IR is infrared. The infrared camera is blinking, it shows the image, then it goes to blank, shows the image, goes to blank again. So do not use that, use the normal color camera. And this is the summary. So let's start with the bad hardware. Bad hardware means that you cannot actually change it. That's the way it is. No software drivers, no software updates will ever fix the issue. So the keyboard keys are not great to type on. I don't know. They're mushy. They move around. I don't know. I have a huge error rate using it. Only one USB Type-A port. I've already talked about this. This is a big problem for me. And also the fact that the 4 home and page up, page down keyboard keys are spread around the numpad. And they have the arrow keys in the middle. So I would have preferred the home and page up, page down keys to be very close together as they are in a normal desktop keyboard key, where they form a rectangle, or if they would have been a column next to the at the right of the enter key. The hardware is also exceptionally good. It's really expensive, 16-inch monitor, Thunderbird. It still does have a headset jack. The CPU in there is extra interesting. 22 CPU threads, 3 different types. There's performance, there's other 2 types of CPU cores in there. The performance ones probably have hyperthreading, the efficiency ones and the high efficiency ones probably do not. The Intel graphics works flawlessly in Linux. Now, what doesn't work out of the box in Kubuntu 24.10, I'm not sure how to make the Windows key open the start menu. So Alt F1, Plasma start menu. I do not know how to do it. Probably can be configured somewhere, hopefully. The touchpad touch to click is disabled by default, which I have no clue why you would do such a thing. Why would you want to press and move the actual touchpad instead of just touching the touchpad? But fortunately can be enabled. KD Plasma System Settings, touchpad, and then tapping, tap to click. Touchpad, 2-finger scroll, also not enabled by default. Again, you enable it using tapping, tap to click, the same thing as single finger tap to click. The invert scroll direction, natural scrolling, this setting, you will probably want to enable it. And then I also needed to disable horizontal scrolling because I do not want to scroll in circles. I always want to just scroll up and down. I do not know yet how to middle click. Probably there's the emulation for double click with press left and right buttons, but I'm not sure exactly how would that work. I touch with 1 finger and then immediately I touch with 2 fingers. I'm not exactly sure. So touching with 2 fingers shows the context menu. Okay, and then extremely surprisingly, the hardware does actually work in Kubuntu 24.10. So the infrared webcam, the normal webcam, the microphone, the speakers, network interface card, the one with the wired network interface card, wireless interface card, Bluetooth, the multimedia keys. I can use the Windows key in combination with other keys, such as Windows left arrow key, in order to make a window use the left half of the screen. But if I just press the Windows key, it doesn't do what it should. But the other shortcuts that use the Windows key work correctly. Okay, and then all of the other things that normally do work, like high resolutions in YouTube, work correctly. It's not a 4K monitor. It's just a bit above 1440p. And generally that's it. Very impressed by the performance, very impressed by the Linux support for this hardware laptop, and it's pretty recent, from the last year. very, very impressed with how everything just works in Ubuntu 24.10 with this laptop. Thank you.